be our next guest. Joe's practicing all the time, never stops. Our next guest comes complete with 200 miles of wiring and 750,000 components, and he's been called the Liberace of the organ. Here is Virgil Fox.
Lovely to have it.
Oh, how you play with your feet.
Isn't that incredible?
Well, let's see.
Shoes, I dig the shoes.
I bought the shoes at the same place you bought yours, and I know perfectly well.
I love it.
You have a special reason for enjoying the comparison to Lee's showmanship.
I have with pleasure, because if you've got something to show, get it in the open. The trouble with this organ business is they've been hiding for 1,000 years behind the woodwork, Mike. You've got to get out where people can get to the thing that you have to say.
Exactly.
And I am so pleased that I've got something that can plug in where any man can put his toaster. You know, this machine can go any place that Heifetz can fiddle, and that's the first time in history. I still love my pipe organ. It's the king of instruments. It's got the whole way. But this instrument is getting better all the time. Next year they're building me one with 5 keyboards. It's going to be a real socceroo. It will have everything from soup to nuts, and I can't wait to get it in the truck.
You know what?
That enthusiasm?
I think it's marvelous. The kids have discovered Virgil Fox.
That's right.
They
Young people.
love him. He gives concerts. He wears jeans, you know? Yeah, and the kids just dig him. They've never heard an organ played like this before. You're fantastic.
You know, at the Fillmore, it's a very dangerous thing to walk in front of that gang that have heard nothing but rock and roll and have only Bach as your boyfriend. But when it all started, that gang was so marvelous that there's no way to describe it. At the end of about the 16th encore, I finally said, "This is a good night song, or I think we might be there yet."
That's marvelous. Tell me about the volume. There's been so much written about the fact that the young people listening to rock and roll, their hearing is going to be impaired. Now, what about your volume? Is that...
You know something? The volume of this instrument, even though it is intense, comes from 160 speakers. It is overlaid. You see, all the different sources of tone are what make the richness of the sound of this instrument. As a result, it is not as loud. I tremble to think what will happen to those kids that have been listening to this pounding thing. It is too much. It will make them absolutely not only a headache, it'll wreck their hearing.
Then you're not up to the critical point of whatever the decimals are. I don't know.
Well, I've got 10 controls on that thing. I can turn them up, I can turn them down. We were, Mike, about 3 weeks ago at Purdue University in a magnificent room that seats 100 people more than Radio City Music Hall. And do you know that this organ will fill that room? We had 6,000 kids crawling the wall.
I know the room you're talking about.
It is.
I played the room.
Oh,
It's beautiful.
great.
Just beautiful. Now, you just brought an organ called a Harvard organ.
You say I just bought. I say I just bought.
You just bought.
I bought one of the great masterpieces of all the world. There was, at the great chapel of Appleton Chapel in Harvard, this magnificent instrument, and because people have gone off the deep end about organs and don't really understand
We're
them,
showing a picture of it on camera right now.
magnificent.
Oh, is that gorgeous?
That is it. Can you imagine?
Oh,
I'm told-
candelabras and everything. Oh,
I'm told
Were those extra or did they throw those in?
They threw them in.
Oh,
That's a deluxe. That's a deluxe model.
Lee has one in his house,
Yes.
I'm told.
Yes, a gold one.
And as soon as we get this installed, we'll have to have a little competition. And
Oh, I'm going to take lessons from you.
I love it. That organ is one of the great organs of the world, and I'm going to save it and put it into a magnificent home where there will be a concert hall that will enable all the people to hear it. There is a thing happening about organs at the present time, you know. They want to exaggerate the upper works and the overtones and put no gut. And if you take music with no gut, you got no music. So that one's got
gutless music. You have a new album, and you always record before a live audience. This is called Heavy Organ at Carnegie Hall. Virgil Fox.
To say that I'm pleased that you mentioned it is an understatement. Actually, can you believe that we sold out Carnegie Hall on December 20? Everybody that's ever had anything to do with an organ is totally booked on December 20. You're getting ready for the great day. But we had our Marvelous Young from the Fillmore, and that record has the absolute credit for what happened in that place, and I can't wait for people to hear it, because it is this instrument, of course.
I heard a fascinating thing about Virgil. Pieces of plaster and pieces of the building that fall down while he's performing. Kids come up with pieces of plaster. Say, would you sign this for me?
Oh, really? I'm curious, Mike.
But never plaster.
How much money have you sunk into this equipment here? What's it worth?
That's a very good question, and everybody wants to know. I'm told that I mustn't tell, but it takes a lot of dough. This one that stands right here would be somewhere...
More than 100?
Not more than 100. Not more than 100, a little less than 100. But the new one that they're building for next year, as I say, will have the 5 manuals, and it will have 99 individual sources of tone that are additive, and that means that they're not all locked in together, and it's getting better all the time. It's like all the fiddles of the Philadelphia, you know. When they start playing, they can't play exactly the same pitch, and when you have the richness of all those different strings, that's what gives the color to the music. And with the new one, we'll start in on a new kind of deal entirely with this organ. It will have 99 sources of tone. We'll play together with that one.
Oh, great.
Now, when Virgil was here last, I told him that Lee was going to be on the show, and I had hoped that you two could work out a duet, and they have. So
We
we're going to hear
would be delighted to show you what is possible.
Virgil Fox.
Excellent. Let's go to town. And we may involve the audience a little bit. How about it?
Okay.
They say we have to have a tag. So here's the tag. You to dance. How about a little step? Anybody could dance if they wore a coat like that, baby.